But back then I grew frustrated with the book. The lake beckoned the way it always did, and I left the book in the sand. By the time I was done swimming, the water had found poor Frankenstein, tried to drown him. After the book was dry, the pages stuck together as if with glue. When I tried to peel the sheets apart, they tore, leaving fragments of themselves adhered to the other pages. At first my father was angry, but what did he care? The spine still looked handsome enough in the row of unread books. Sometimes I remembered that waterlogged book when I moved through Chicago, with all the bits and fragments of other eras, other lives stitched here, there, everywhere. A patched-up monster shambling along. I saw all these people in their uniforms and their smart modern suits living and breathing, and then I saw all the dead beside them, in and around them, in their raccoon caps and breeches and hoop skirts and bustles, from 1750 and 1800, 1850 and 1880. The two black women dressed in homespun cotton, fleeing Missouri or Kentucky, looking over their shoulders, clutching each other's hands. The exhausted Civil War soldier riding through the streets on his starving horse. For a while, I even looked for Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, a black man who arrived around 1780, the first non-native to settle here. But I never saw him. I never saw the natives who had passed either, though I saw the living. The Indian boundary lines were meant to keep the Potawatomi, the Fox, the Shawnee, and Winnebago out of the city of Chicago. But there were still some trying to survive here on the land of their ancestors. Yet their dead were invisible, at least to me. Maybe those spirits had moved on, like many of their people. Or maybe the ancestors of the natives had better things to do than show themselves to ruined girls who liked to read about monsters. The library was hushed except for the rasp of turning pages. In The Hobbit, Bilbo and the dwarves were about to enter the forest of Mirkwood, where there seemed to be eyes everywhere, and giant lurking spiders. I could almost hear their stealthy approach, the kaleidoscope click of their feet. Thunk! Everyone in the library looked up. The young librarian in her crisp blouse and skirt leaned over the desk to peer into the stacks. A lone book lay on the floor. The librarian sighed, walked around the desk and into the shelves. She picked up the book and slipped it back into place, returned to the front desk. All was quiet until another book slammed to the floor. That was when I saw her, the girl in the golden dress. She was lying on her stomach on the very top of the bookshelves, cheek resting on her forearm, her other arm dangling loosely over the rows of books, like someone trailing her fingers in a stream. The girl watched the librarian retrieve the fallen book, tuck it back on the shelves, and sit once again at the front desk. Then the girl in the golden dress reached down and pulled yet another book off the shelf and tossed it to the floor. The librarian jumped. The patrons started. Everyone started mumbling about faulty shelves and incompetent employees and drafty old buildings. "That's just cruel," I said. For a moment I thought the girl wasn't going to answer, but then she said, "As if you haven't done the very same sort of thing." "Not to her." "To someone," she said. "What's that book?" I asked. "Only a book," she replied. According to my mother, no book is only a book. A book can improve your mind or it can break it, I said. Your mother must have been an interesting woman. Still is, I assume. You don't know? I said. I don't want to know. Her eyes walked my form head to toe and back, then again to the book on the floor. She said, "None of these books are the books I want." "What kind of books do you want?" "Good ones." "I like the one he's reading," I said, pointing to the blonde man with the Hobbit. The girl picked up her head, glanced at the cover of the Hobbit, wrinkled her nose. She said, "I'm not interested in little men with hairy feet." "So you know it?" She smiled. "I don't want to know." "I want to know how you pulled all those books off the shelves," I said. "I usually can't move."